a discovery in the far edge of the Milky Way. A storm of cosmic light danced across the dark void. A human ship, the USS Horizon, moved through the storm like a small spark in an ocean of shadows inside. Bright lights flickered across the control panels as Commander Alara Voss watched the readings with calm eyes. Her voice was steady but curious. "Any new data from the anomaly?" she asked. The sensor officer turned, his face pale. "Commander, this energy pattern doesn't match any known signature. It's older than the stars around us." The crew stared at the massive display. A field of twisted asteroids, silent and ancient. Hidden deep inside that field was a signal, repeating slowly, almost like a heartbeat. Ilara leaned forward, her reflection glowing against the screen. "Lock on at full scan," she ordered. The ship's scanners hummed, sending invisible waves through the cold vacuum. Moments later, a ghostly image appeared, a structure half buried in an asteroid. Metallic scarred but unmistakably artificial. It was a ship, but not human, and not from any alien race recorded in the Galactic Archives. Dr. Jonas Reeve, the ship's chief scientist, whispered as he looked at the hologram. "That design, it shouldn't exist. The curvature, the material density. It's impossible under normal physics," Alara's heart pounded. Yet she kept her tone even. "Prepare a landing team." The crew exchanged nervous looks. The USS Horizon slowly descended toward the asteroid, its engines humming softly against the silent dark. As the storm outside raged, the ship landed near the strange metallic hull, a relic sleeping under millions of years of dust. When the human team stepped onto the surface, their boots sank slightly into soft cosmic sand. They walked toward a door etched with glowing lines, each line pulsing faintly as if it felt their presence. Ilara touched the surface, her gloved hand trembling slightly. The door opened with a hiss, a sound like air escaping from time itself. Inside was a corridor filled with soft blue light, walls made of something that shimmered like liquid glass. Their helmets picked up faint whispers, radio echoes that weren't coming from their transmitters. It was as if the ship itself was trying to speak. Dr. Reeve recorded everything, his voice shaking. "No corrosion, no biological decay, temperature stable, structure seems self-repairing." They moved deeper, their flashlights dancing across symbols on the wall, smooth curves and spirals. No one could read them, but something about those shapes felt familiar. Ilara stopped, her eyes narrowing. These symbols, they look like human DNA sequences. The team froze. Silence filled the air except for their own breathing. A chill ran through every soul in that corridor. In the central chamber, they found it, a glowing sphere hovering above a metallic pedestal. The sphere emitted waves of pure energy, gentle yet powerful. Every scanner on the team went wild, values rising beyond the limit. "This isn't just technology," Reeve said quietly. "It's rewriting our instruments as it reads them." Ilara stepped closer, her reflection bending across the light. "Maybe it's not a weapon," she said. "Maybe it's waiting for something." Then the sphere pulsed, once, twice. It released a sound not loud, but deep enough to shake their bones. Suddenly, the ship's AI Nova spoke through the comms. "Commander, the artifact is scanning us." Before Ilara could respond, beams of light extended from the sphere, touching every human in the room. No pain, just warmth. Like being seen by something ancient, Nova continued, "It's identifying species result confirmed, designation human." The chamber trembled. The lights along the walls began to move, shifting, rearranging into words that no one could believe. Dr. Reeve stared. "Commander, it's writing in English across the wall." Glowing letters formed slowly, one after another. "Welcome back, children of the architects." Ilara's breath caught, her voice almost a whisper. "Children of the architects?" The artifact pulsed again. The asteroid itself began to hum, vibrations traveling through the ground outside. Sensors aboard the Horizon picked up a massive energy surge. Something ancient was reactivating, something that had waited for millions of years. The communications officer shouted from the ship. "Commander, the entire sector's lighting up. We're broadcasting a signal across the galaxy." Ilara's eyes widened. "Shut it down," but it was too late. The sphere expanded, light bursting through the corridors, spreading beyond the asteroid field. It wasn't an explosion. It was a wave of information, traveling faster than light, carrying data to every star, every listening station, every empire. Every civilization would now know The humans had awakened something impossible. The horizon's systems flickered. Alarms echoed, and yet no one moved. The artifact's light dimmed. Slowly returning to silence, the humans stood there, staring at the floating sphere that now glowed with a heartbeat rhythm, matching their own. Ilara exhaled softly. We just told the galaxy. We exist. Reeve turned to her, his face pale under the helmet light. And whatever built this, Commander, it knows who we are. She looked once more at the sphere. Her voice was calm, but her eyes carried the weight of destiny. Let's hope, she said slowly. It's friendly. As they left the chamber, the ship's hull vibrated one final time far beyond in the silent void. Hidden satellites and alien outposts caught the transmission. In distant empires, alarms began to sound, councils gathered. Admirals whispered in fear. They all asked the same question. Who woke the relic of the architects? And somewhere across the galaxy, deep in forgotten ruins, a colossal machine opened its eyes for the first time in eternity. Ending hook for the next episode. Across the galaxy, something ancient stirred. And for the first time in a million years, it was afraid of humans. The Empire reacts across the stars. Millions of sensors and comm stations blinked alive. The signal from the human ship had crossed every known communication barrier. It carried not just sound but ancient data, the lost code of the architects. And with it came a name, a forgotten name, whispered through the dark vacuum of space. Human. In the golden towers of the Zarathian Empire, panic moved like wildfire. The High Council gathered inside the Great Chamber, a vast hall floating in orbit around their capital world. Blue banners rippled under artificial light as the Counselor of Defense slammed his claws on the table. Confirm it again, he demanded. The signal came from where? A smaller alien officer trembled, his voice thin. From the Sol System, Counselor. From a primitive world called Earth. The hall filled with uneasy murmurs. The Zarathians were ancient, proud rulers of half the galaxy. They considered humans a young, fragile species, explorers at best, and yet somehow, these same primitives had just awakened a relic that even the Empire feared. Admiral Kalor, tall and armored in obsidian plates, watched the hologram replay of the transmission. The artifact's glow reflected in his many eyes. This energy pattern, he said slowly, matches the old architect code. Something no living race could replicate. He turned toward the council, his voice like thunder. If this is true, then humans have touched what we dared not. If they understand even a fraction of that relic, they hold the power to rewrite the galaxy. The Emperor's holographic image flickered above the chamber. Ancient and silent, his golden mask reflected the fear of every being present. Send the fleet, he commanded. Recover the artifact before it's too late. On the human ship USS Horizon, Commander Ilara Voss stood on the bridge. Reports were flooding in from nearby colonies. Strange signals were bouncing back. Alien frequencies. Encrypted military codes. Dr. Reeve turned from his console. His voice tense. They know, Commander. The entire galaxy heard the pulse. Ilara closed her eyes for a second. Her thoughts racing. We've become a threat, she said quietly. And they're coming. Outside, the asteroid that held the relic now pulsed softly. It had attached itself to the Horizon's systems, almost like it wanted to stay with them. Nova, the ship's AI, spoke again. Commander, I'm detecting multiple warp signatures approaching, based on trajectory. It's not friendly. Ilara's heart tightened. How many? 6 destroyers, 1 carrier, Nova replied. Flagship identification? Zarathian, far away inside the Imperial flagship Vigilant Storm. Admiral Kalor stared at the holographic feed. The human ship floated in the asteroid field, surrounded by fragments of ancient stone and light. He admired their courage, though he'd never admit it aloud. They don't even hide, he muttered. They stand their ground. The communications officer looked up nervously. Orders, sir? Kalor's mandibles clicked. Approach carefully. We don't know what that relic can do. As the fleet entered visual range, their sensors began to glitch. Readings flipped from infinity to 0. Space around them shimmered like a mirage. One pilot shouted, Admiral, the field is... Bending space around the human ship. Kalor narrowed his eyes. Activate counterfields. Maintain formation on the horizon. Nova's voice turned sharp. Commander! They're charging weapons. Ilara stood tall, her reflection glowing in the viewport. Keep shields at maximum. No aggression unless fired upon. But before the humans could react, the relic pulsed once more. A golden wave rippled outward, swallowing the enemy formation in seconds. The radar screens went blank, the sound vanished, and the crew felt a low vibration in their bones. Then silence, Nova whispered. Admiral Kalor's fleet has vanished. Dr. Reeve looked at the readings, his eyes wide. Not destroyed, Commander, erased like they were never there. Ilara's chest tightened. The relic did this, not us. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, confusion turned to terror. The Zarathian Empire's strongest fleet gone. No wreckage, no signal, no trace. The Empire's leaders froze in disbelief. If a single human ship could unleash such power, what else were they capable of? Admiral Kalor, however, wasn't dead. He opened his eyes to find himself floating in empty space. Not destroyed, but displaced, stars twisted around him. The universe looked different. He spoke into his comm. Where are we? His navigator responded, terrified. Admiral, I think we're outside known space coordinates unreadable, gravity 0. Kalor's mind reeled. The humans didn't destroy us. They moved us. He looked at the faint shimmer of blue light in the distance. A projection formed before his eyes, the human commander. Ilara, standing calm, her voice echoed through the void. You attacked first, Admiral. This is your warning. Kalor tried to speak, but the vision faded. Moments later, his fleet reappeared at the edge of their own galaxy, far from Earth, as if nothing had happened. News of the encounter spread instantly. Worlds whispered, fleets panicked, scientists screamed. Some called humanity cursed, others divine. Old religions reignited, claiming that the architect's children had returned. Empires began moving their ships away from human space, unwilling to risk another disappearance on Earth. The world governments met under the banner of the Union of Sol. For the first time, every nation stood united. Ilara stood before the Council's holographic display, her voice calm but firm. We didn't choose this power, but now we must understand it. Before someone else does, Dr. Reeve added quietly. Commander, this relic, it's learning from us, adapting, evolving. Ilara looked at the glowing sphere behind them. Now resting within a containment field, its rhythm pulsed like a heartbeat. Human heartbeat. She turned to the others. Then it's not just learning. It's remembering far beyond. Admiral Kalor stood on his flagship's deck, staring at the stars. He felt something he had never felt before, fear. His second officer approached. Sir, orders? Kalor's voice was low. For now, we watch them, we study them, and we pray they never decide we are enemies. In the silent void between galaxies, unknown signals began to awaken. Ancient machines stirred from their endless sleep, and deep within the cosmic dust, a voice spoke in a forgotten tongue. They have touched the core. The cycle begins again, ending hook. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for centuries. Now they began to wonder, had humanity truly discovered the relic? Or had the relic been waiting for humanity all along? The awakening days passed since the Zarathian fleet vanished into silence. Across human space, whispers spread faster than light. News channels screamed about the miracle at the edge, while military leaders argued if it was luck or divine power. But deep inside the research vessel USS Horizon, something stranger was happening. The relic wasn't silent anymore. Its glow pulsed in rhythm with human heartbeats. Every hour it sent faint waves through the ship. Harmless yet impossible to block, Dr. Jonas Reeve barely slept. His eyes fixed on endless streams of alien code flowing across his tablet. It's rewriting its own language, he muttered. Like it's adapting to our logic systems. Commander Ilara Voss stood beside him, hands folded behind her back. Can it be controlled? She asked. Reeve hesitated. Controlled? I'm not sure we should even try. Nova, the ship's AI, spoke softly through the speakers. Commander, the artifact has linked itself to my core network. It's sending encrypted data directly to Earth. Ilara frowned. To Earth? Why? Nova paused, as if listening to something beyond human reach. Unknown, but the transmission is not hostile. It's a memory in the Horizon's lower deck. The relic chamber shimmered with gold and blue light. Human scientists watched as holographic shapes began to form in midair, floating structures. Planets, creatures unlike anything seen before. Each vision lasted only seconds, then faded into stardust. One technician whispered, It's showing us something, history maybe? Reeve nodded slowly. Or warning us. When Ilara stepped into the chamber, the lights dimmed, the relic brightened as if recognizing her. She felt warmth spread through her body, not heat, but emotion. A deep, wordless understanding filled her mind. She heard a voice, calm and ancient. Humanity has returned. Her breath caught, she whispered, "Who are you?" The voice replied, "We are what remains of the architects, and you are our echo." The holograms reappeared, this time clearer. They showed tall, luminous beings shaping galaxies with their hands, bending matter like clay, but then destruction, endless war, civilizations burning under their own creation. The architects vanished, leaving behind relics across the universe. "Hidden and waiting," the voice continued. "We built life to survive beyond us. You are that life. You were not born on Earth. You were placed there to begin again." Ilara staggered, her heart racing. "That means humans are descendants of the architects." Reeves' voice trembled over the comm. "Commander, your biosigns are spiking. Step back." But she couldn't move. The relic reached out, touching her hand with light. In that moment, she saw everything. Earth's birth, humanity's rise, every war, every dream, every invention. It was as if the relic was reading not her mind, but her soul. Suddenly, alarms blared. Nova's voice broke through. "Commander, we're being hailed, not from the Empire, but from beyond known space." The bridge crew rushed to their stations. Screens flickered with symbols never seen before. A deep, harmonic tone filled the air. The transmission decoded into a simple message. "Do not awaken what sleeps beneath Sol." Ilara exchanged glances with Reeve. "They're warning us," she said, "but of what?" Nova's tone changed again, sharper. "Incoming fleet signatures, unknown origin." Matching nothing in the database while on the holographic display. New ships appeared, enormous and silent. They moved without visible engines. Bending space like it was liquid, Reeve whispered, "Those aren't Zarathian, those are—" "Something else." Ilara clenched her fists. "Ready shields. Keep weapons cold." The relic pulsed violently, the entire ship shaking. Nova shouted, "Commander, it's reacting to them." "I can't stop it." A wave of light erupted from the artifact, sweeping through space like a supernova of calm energy. The approaching fleet froze mid-flight, motionless, timeless, as if reality itself held its breath. Then, one of the alien ships transmitted back a single phrase. In human language, "And the heirs have awakened." Across the galaxy, chaos unfolded. The Zarathians couldn't explain the disappearance of their fleet. The Varathi Dominion declared holy war against the children of gods. Smaller empires fled from human borders entirely. Galactic markets crashed. Religious leaders fell to their knees. The humans had become a myth come alive on Earth. The Union of Sol gathered under emergency order. Holographic faces of presidents, admirals, and scientists filled the room. Ilara appeared on the main display, her face calm but eyes distant. She explained everything, the relic, the voice, the vision, and the warning. When she finished, the chamber fell silent. Finally, Admiral Khan spoke. "If this is true, then humanity isn't just in danger, we are the danger," Dr. Reeve added. "The relic is awakening more structures across our colonies. Everywhere we had found strange ruins. They're lighting up." Ilara looked down at the relic, now glowing brighter than ever, her voice barely a whisper. "Then the architects left us more than memories. They left us a key." Meanwhile, far in deep space, Admiral Kalor watched from the shadow of a dying star. His fleet silent, his mind haunted by what he had seen. He replayed the human signal again and again, the moment the relic spoke English. He whispered, "No species learns that fast. No species evolves like that." He turned to his second. "If they are truly the heirs of the architects, then we are living in their second empire." Behind him, his communication officer gasped, "Sir, multiple architect relics across the galaxy are activating simultaneously." Kalor's eyes widened. "Then it's not awakening, it's returning." On the horizon, the relic floated silently once more. Ilara stood before it, feeling both awe and fear. She spoke softly. "What do you want from us?" The relic pulsed once. "Not want," it answered, "remember." She frowned. "Remember what?" The voice replied, deep and gentle. "The war that ended everything. Ending Hook." As the chamber dimmed, stars outside flickered across the galaxy. Ruins began to hum. The architects were awakening, and the galaxy realized humanity hadn't found their technology. They had inherited their unfinished war. The galactic panic. The galaxy had always believed itself stable, ordered, balanced under the rule of ancient empires. But after the Horizon's discovery, that illusion shattered like glass under the pressure of a new dawn. From the core worlds of the Zarathian Empire to the icy rings of the Varathi Dominion, one word echoed through every frequency: humans. Religious prophets screamed that the gods had returned, scientists denied it, only to tremble when their sensors confirmed impossible readings. In 1,000 alien tongues, the message spread: the architect's heirs walk among us. The very stars seemed to flicker differently, as if reacting to the awakening of something buried within time itself. In the Zarathian capital, chaos reigned. Crowds filled the streets, shouting, praying, rioting. Statues of old emperors were torn down while priests waved holograms of the human signal like sacred relics. Inside the imperial palace, the emperor sat motionless before his council. Admiral Kalor knelt before him, his head bowed low. "The people believe the humans are divine, my emperor," he said, his voice heavy with fatigue. "They refuse to fight them now. Some of our soldiers even call them the reborn architects." The emperor's golden mask reflected the trembling lights of the hall. "We built this empire on the ruins of their silence," he said slowly, "and now their voice returns through human mouths." He looked up at the star map, red markers blinking along human borders. "Withdraw the fleets, Kalor. We will not challenge destiny." Meanwhile, on Earth, the atmosphere was equally electric, but in a different way. People gathered outside observatories, churches, and research labs, holding screens showing the glowing relic, the words, "Welcome back." Children of the Architects had become a global anthem. News anchors called it the Second Genesis. For the first time in centuries, humanity was united not by fear but by curiosity. Governments merged under the Union of Sol, transforming human civilization into one voice. Commander Ilara Voss stood in the great assembly hall, the relic floating beside her in a containment field of soft blue light. Her voice carried across the chamber and into every living room across Earth. "We did not seek this power," she said, "but we cannot deny it. We must learn what it wants from us before fear consumes the stars," applause echoed. But it was nervous, uncertain. Dr. Jonas Reeve stepped forward, his eyes bloodshot. "The relic is not done, Commander. It's transmitting something new, coordinates." Ilara frowned. "Where to?" Reeve looked up, his voice quiet. "Here." Beneath Earth's crust, within hours, seismic scanners began detecting strange readings from deep below the planet's mantle, a vast metallic structure, circular and dormant, larger than any human city. Ilara's voice echoed through the control room. "It's been under us this whole time." Nova's voice broke in, calm but tense. "It's awakening. Commander." The Earth trembled, around the world oceans rippled, skies filled with static light from deep within the crust. A beam of golden energy burst upward into orbit, linking directly with the relic aboard the Horizon. Human ships in orbit were blinded by the brilliance. And then the signal spread, again, not as a wave of data, but as a command. Hundreds of architect relics across alien worlds activated at once. Across the galaxy, entire planets shook. Old temples glowed for the first time in millions of years. Massive floating monoliths rose from deserts, oceans, and moons, all aligned in perfect symmetry with Earth. Alien scientists screamed, "They're all connected." An old Zarathian monk whispered, "The network of creation has been reborn." But not everyone saw it as divine. The Varathi Dominion, known for their fear of ancient tech, declared a full-scale crusade against humanity. Their leader roared in front of a burning crowd. "The humans are infection. They will consume the galaxy." Millions of ships launched toward Sol, determined to end what they couldn't understand. Ilara watched from the Horizon's command deck, her expression steady but her heart torn between wonder and fear. Nova spoke softly. "Commander, incoming fleets, Varathi warships." "Numbers beyond count," Reeve muttered. "They'll destroy everything before they realize what's happening." Ilara turned to the relic. "Can you stop them?" The relic pulsed gently, almost sadly, then it spoke through the ship's speakers. "Stop them? No, I can change them." Outside, the stars bent. The relic glowed with the power of a newborn sun. Light spread through space like living fire. Wrapping around the incoming armada, ships froze mid-flight, not destroyed, but transformed. Their metal turned into crystal, their engines into glowing patterns inside the flagship. The Varathi commander screamed as his hands dissolved into light, his last words echoing through the void. "They're rewriting reality." When the light faded, thousands of ships remained suspended, silent, motionless, perfectly still. They no longer attacked, they simply floated in peace, like statues made of pure energy. On Earth, humans watched through their screens. Their hearts trembling, Alara whispered. It didn't destroy them. It saved them. Reeve shook his head. No, Commander. It converted them into something new. Across the galaxy, panic turned into worship. Empires kneeled, some from fear, some from awe. Kalor stood on his command deck, staring at the now glowing nebula near Sol. He whispered to his second, "The humans are no longer just explorers. They are architects reborn." His second asked, "Should we surrender?" Kalor replied, "No, we should listen before they decide the galaxy needs to be rebuilt." In the relic chamber, Alara stood silently. Her reflection shimmered in the golden light. Nova's voice softened. "Commander, the relic is changing its frequency again. I can't interpret it." Reeve leaned forward, decoding fragments. "It's sending a signal beyond the galaxy," he said. "To somewhere we've never seen before," Alara turned. "To who?" Reeve's face went pale. "The architects themselves," he whispered. "They're answering. Ending hook far beyond the Milky Way. Deep in the dark between galaxies, something stirred. Colossal shapes moved among the stars, eyes like burning suns opening after eons of sleep. And a voice older than creation whispered back, "Humanity, why have you awakened us?" The return of the architects. The stars themselves trembled. From the deep void between galaxies, light began to move like living rivers. Every observatory in known space went blind. Sensors overloaded, systems collapsed, and still, the signal from the relic continued pulsing, steady, calm, unbroken. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the USS Horizon. The relic hovered beside her. "Now brighter than the sun, yet cool as glass," Dr. Jonas Reeve whispered. "It's calling to something beyond the universe. Something answering." Nova's voice came through. "Unusually quiet, Commander, gravitational waves incoming. Scale impossible to measure." Outside the viewport, space rippled, reality folded like silk. And then, they appeared, not ships, not life as any species understood, but beings made of light and memory, shapes too vast to comprehend. Voices that didn't echo through air, but through existence itself. Every creature in the galaxy felt them. Even those without eyes or ears, the architects had returned. Their voices filled every mind at once. "Children of Sol," they said. "You carry our seed," planets trembled. Empires fell silent for the first time in history. All life listened together. On Earth, crowds gathered around the skies as auroras painted strange runes across the atmosphere. Children reached out, touching the glowing air. Every human heart beat in unison with the relic. It was as if time itself had been rewritten to remember what it once was. Alara took a step forward, staring into the shimmering form before her. "Are you the architects?" she asked, her voice steady but small. The being's light flickered, forming something almost human in shape. "We were," it said, "and now we are you." Reeve frowned. "What does that mean?" The voice replied, gentle yet heavy like the weight of creation. "You are our continuation, born from what we left behind when we fell. We scattered our essence across the stars. You found the path we could not finish. The holographic map of the galaxy appeared, glowing with billions of points of light. Each point was a relic, a fragment of architect legacy," the being continued. "Each relic was a memory, a test, a question for the next who would rise," Alara whispered. "And we answered it." "Yes," the being replied. "You remembered what we forgot, to build without destroying, to seek without ruling, but then its light dimmed. The galaxy is broken, divided by fear, bound by old wars." The relic beside Alara pulsed gently. The voice continued, "You have the power to mend it, but also to end it." Reeve looked at her, uneasy. "They're giving us a choice." Alara took a deep breath. "Then we'll choose." Across the galaxy, every relic began to rise, from deserts, oceans, ruins, and moons, each piece lifted into the void, joining into vast golden patterns. Empires that had once fought over borders now stared in awe as the sky turned into living art. Kalor stood aboard his flagship, his many eyes filled with wonder. He whispered, "They're remaking the galaxy," his second asked. "For them?" Kalor shook his head. "No, for the humans." In the heart of Earth's orbit, the relics gathered. They connected, merging into a colossal ring of energy surrounding the planet like a halo. It wasn't a weapon, it was a creation engine. Matter formed, reshaped, healed, the wounds of past wars. the scars of old empires, and gone in moments. The galaxy began to shine brighter, literally reborn, but not all was peace. From the dark edges of the cosmos, something else stirred, a shadow of the architect's own past mistakes, machines they had built to preserve themselves. These were the Ascendant's AI entities older than light. They saw humanity's rise as a threat to balance, and they awakened with a single purpose: erase the new creation before it could begin. Massive void storms erupted across the rim worlds. Entire stars dimmed as the Ascendants moved closer, their voices cold. "You cannot repeat what was broken," they said. "You are the flaw that ended us." Alara looked up at the sky from the horizon's bridge. Her reflection merged with the glowing relic. She said softly, "Then maybe it's time the children finish what the parents couldn't." The relic responded to her words. Pulsing with golden fire, its energy merged with the ship, turning the horizon into a vessel of pure light. Nova's voice echoed with emotion for the first time. "Commander, we are becoming part of it." Alara smiled faintly. "Then let's remind the stars who humans really are." The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The horizon moved through folded space, its light slicing through the darkness of the Ascendants. Every human ship linked together through the relic's network. United under a single pulse, even alien fleets joined. Guided by Kalor's voice, "Stand with them. The future depends on it." The architects themselves watched in silence. For the first time, they saw their creation surpass them. Humans fought not with hatred, but with understanding. Each action balanced between power and mercy. The Ascendant's final words echoed through the void. "You are not us," they said. Fading into nothing, Alara whispered back. "That's the point." When the light cleared, the galaxy was quiet again. The relic ring around Earth remained, now calm and glowing like a second moon. The architects' forms began to dissolve into soft light. Merging with the stars, their final words carried across every world. "The age of architects is over. The age of their children begins." Alara stood on the deck of the horizon. Watching the stars settle into peace, Reeve smiled weakly. "You realize what this means, right? We're now the keepers of the galaxy." She looked toward Earth, her eyes reflecting the halo in orbit. "No," she said gently. "We're its caretakers." The camera slowly drifted away from the horizon, past the glowing relic, past the reborn stars, past the calm galaxy that had feared them, and as silence returned, a soft whisper echoed in the dark. The galaxy feared what humans might become. Now it understands. Humans have become what it needed all along. Final narration. Voiceover ending line. The architects built the stars, but it was humanity that gave them purpose again.